How's it going, guys? Hope everything is going well. Now, I want to do a quick video on Bitcoin again, and I wanted to look at a few things that this YouTuber Don Harold showed me a few years ago. We used to talk a lot a few years ago before I was married. I had a lot more free time, and he used to show me some of his techniques, and he used to also cover it on YouTube. And I believe he's still doing videos on like DTube or VidMe or whatever. I'm still on his email list. But look at this. I'm at Google Trends here. And you have to look at this. Bitcoin, you haven't seen this much interest in Bitcoin for a long time. And this is actually the most interest ever. So put that into perspective. No one really was talking about it. And now I see on like CNBC, I go to Bloomberg, I go to Facebook, people are talking about cryptos. I swear I saw a comment or a post like, if you're not getting involved in cryptos, you're leaving money off the table. I'm like, for real? Where were you 3-4 years ago saying if you're not in cryptos, you're leaving money off the table? So you notice that when you have the high momentum players, the hedge funds, people are getting very confident. I see on message boards like, man, I'm buying cryptos, I'm buying them left and right. I just bought Bitcoin for the first time. I'm like, what the hell? And I told you the other day that people are going to my wife, who then maybe want to talk to me because they know that I've been trading for and investing for a decade and been through hardships through investing. And they're asking me about coins. I'm like, coins? Are you talking about Bitcoins? I didn't have the conversation with them, but I was thinking like, wow, they're coming in right when the trend is here. And they want to ride this thing up. Now, if they get out of time, then congratulations. But the fact is, the Johnny-come-latelys for Bitcoins are coming in this past month. And I remember Bitcoin, like these conspiracy theory sites that I used to go on YouTube. And that's when I heard about Bitcoin. I didn't get involved with it. Like I told you, I didn't like what happened with Mt. Gox, and I've been on the sidelines ever since I heard about that. I mean, yeah, it has improved a lot from based on what I've read, but still, I don't trade Bitcoin. I may trade Bitcoin options if they come on the CME. I told you I may just buy out of the money puts or calls because the volatility in Bitcoin is flat out crazy, where you could just buy these out of the money puts and options. I mean, calls and puts, and you could actually make money on them. You usually lose money. Kyle Bass is one of the few that has made money, and Nassim Taleb. But for Bitcoin, I think that strategy could work, but you have to obviously have good timing, and you have to understand the option model and how that works. And it's complicated if you're just a newbie to that. And I could do a video about deep out of the money puts and calls in a different video. Now, look at this. So Bitcoin, you see all this interest over here. That's a red flag, right? I told you, I'm an accountant, but I have done auditing work a while back, and I deal with auditors. What they look for is red flags. That's red flag number one. Now, I wanted to look at silver over here. This is the SLV chart. You could see that as Bitcoin has been going up, right? What's happening to the price of silver? Price of silver, you could see it's just been going down. Remember that buy silver crash JP Morgan campaign Max Kaiser was talking about? Now Max Kaiser is talking about freaking Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. It's just like an obsessive compulsive kid, but what, he's in his 50s, early 60s? I don't know how old this guy is. I think he's 50s. So he's just obsessed about Bitcoin, right? Just like he was obsessed about silver and JP Morgan and all that stuff. I remember listening to him. I was a naive guy at that time. Even though I still feel in a lifetime, right, precious metals hold more value than fiat currencies, right? Currency values go down, precious metals go up, stock markets go up, commodities go higher, right? Now, it's completely opposite. No one's talking about silver. And I want to look at a SLV GLD chart over here, if it ever decides to pop up. Okay, here it is. So you can see silver is undervalued compared to gold from a trading perspective. And I don't know how many people actually look at the Commitment of Traders report, but in the Commitment of Traders, you could notice that the commercial hedgers are unwinding their short positions and they're getting towards a slightly bullish position. Now, these commercial hedgers usually don't go long, but if you notice that if they start to unwind their short positions, right, that may be a signal that, hey, you know what? This market may be set to go higher. And I've noticed the same thing with gold, that the commercial hedgers are unwinding their short positions, but not to the extent of silver. So that's why I like silver as of right now comparatively to gold. But then on the other hand, what would be probably a decent pairs trade, right? And I'm not saying you should take this, but I'm just thinking in my head is that long silver, short Bitcoin, right? Buy silver, crash Bitcoin, right? Does that phrase seem familiar, right? The phrase 5 years ago was buy silver, crash JP Morgan. But now you may be like, buy silver, crash Bitcoin, right? Max Kaiser is being interviewed like crazy. Not interviewed, but he's going to get more attention now because he was one of the early ones to get involved in Bitcoin, right? You can't take that away. He did talk about Bitcoin, but there were a lot of things that he talked about which I did not like what Max Kaiser was doing with Max Coin and all that stuff. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. But put this aside. Commercial hedgers are unwinding their short positions, which I feel it will be bullish for silver. But the other thing is the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates in the next, week? And when they raise rates, I've noticed a similar pattern, right? Higher prices in commodities shortly follow. This is happening since 2015. So the thing is, when they raise rates, right, it's basically raising the cost of credit, which creates more inflation. And I've talked about this for over a year or so. The pioneers of this sort of thought, higher rates equals higher inflation, it actually comes from the left-wing economist Mike Norman, or MMT guy, right? I don't agree with his philosophy of government, but that analysis so far is correct. And there are other individuals as well. Don Harold talks about that as well. So that's something to note. And the other thing is the Japanese yen is a good proxy to determine negative real interest rates. Commercial hedgers are long over 140,000 contracts, I believe. That's a large long position for Japanese yen. So I think we're getting close to a low in precious metals, and that would be a good time to get in. And it could be as early as this week, but sometimes it takes some time to materialize. I may analyze some of these aspects in a Seeking Alpha article if they approve it. And another thing I wanted to tell you guys is I'm going to be participating in a competition, the World Cup of Trading. Obviously, I don't expect to win, but it will serve me well to enhance my skills, to learn how to better invest and trade. So the thing goes, you put down at least $10,000, and you could either use it in the futures or forex market. So for those that are experienced traders,